Explaining trees. Question number 1. Trees can be made of up to 700,000 kilograms of wood. Where does all that wood come from? More than 95% of the mass of a tree comes from atoms in air and water. Those atoms in the gas and liquid phase become parts of a solid. Now that we understand the equation that summarizes photosynthesis, trees make more sense. In words, the reactions of photosynthesis use the energy of sunlight to combine carbon dioxide and water to form glucose and oxygen. Only a very small percentage of a tree, some essential minerals, comes from the soil. They make up the ash that remains after the wood is burned. Now we understand that burning wood releases its mass into the gas phase. Burning wood can be expressed by this reverse equation. In words, burning wood uses oxygen to break down glucose, releasing carbon dioxide and water. This same reaction describes the reactions of cellular respiration. Question 2. What do trees need in order to create wood? Discuss. Trees need carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight to create the glucose which constitutes wood. They also need to be able to discharge oxygen. Question 3. Where does the material for making wood come from? Discuss. The carbon dioxide comes from the air and enters plants' leaves. Water comes from the environment and enters the plant's roots. Sunlight comes from the sun. Question 4. How does a growing tree affect its environment? Discuss. Trees carry out photosynthesis and release O2 into the air. Trees create wood and lower the amount of CO2 in the air. CO2 is a greenhouse gas. It absorbs energy radiating from the earth, reflects it, and raises the atmosphere's temperature. Therefore, lowering atmospheric CO2 has the effect of lowering the global temperature. Trees also hold soil together and absorb water, reducing erosion and the impact of flooding. Trees provide shade and homes for many living creatures. Long buried trees can be converted into fossil fuels under the right conditions. Question 5. Where does the wood go when a tree burns? Can that affect our environment? Discuss. When wood burns, it emits CO2, H2O, and energy in the form of heat and light. Oxygen is taken from the air to form the water vapor. Burning forests decreases the amount of O2 in the atmosphere and increases the amount of CO2 and H2O in the atmosphere. Because the products of this reaction are both greenhouse gases, deforestation has the effect of raising the global temperature. Question 6. What happened to the wood created millions of years ago? Can these still affect our environment? Here is an illustration of trees from 52 million years ago. Most wood was decomposed, and the cellular respiration of fungus and bacteria released CO2 and H2O into the environment. That was also true of living things that ate the trees. Some wood burned, and that also released CO2 and H2O into the environment. A smaller percentage of the wood was buried and, with time and pressure, became natural gas, oil, or coal buried in the earth. Those buried hydrocarbons removed carbon from the carbon cycle for millions of years. Now, when it is burnt, it is returning that carbon to the atmosphere. Burning fossil fuels releases those hydrocarbons in the form of carbon dioxide and water vapor into the atmosphere. Here's an example of a reaction that takes place when we burn natural gas. CH4 plus O2 forms CO2 plus 2H2O. CO2 is a greenhouse gas, so experts are concerned about the effects of burning fossil fuels. We should be concerned because data shows correlated increases in atmospheric CO2 and global temperature. What do you think? Did you know where trees got the matter to grow before taking this course? This video identifies the most common misperceptions about trees and explains the answer to our key question. Richard Feynman was a Nobel Prize-winning physicist with an amazing view of the world. Here, in this video, he explains how atoms interact to form trees and burn wood.